Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending the Veracruz Plum Computer Consulting monthly webinar series. My name is Kelly Bergman, and I have the pleasure of introducing you to Ed Guerrieri. And I apologize if I said that wrong, Ed. He's with CompuData. He's the Vice President of Technology. He's always on the forefront of innovation in the technology industry and brings over 10 years of progressive technology leadership experience to CompuData. Ed attended Syracuse University, where he obtained a bachelor's degree in information technology. Ed's priority is to remain on the cutting edge of IT and continuously create innovative solutions to solve tomorrow's problems. Now, before I take up all of his time, I'm going to hand the floor over to Ed.
Thanks, Kelly, and you did just fine on the last name there, so better than most. Very, very good. Thank you very much. So yes, as Kelly said, thank you very much. Ed Guerrieri, Vice President of Technology at CompuData. Today's topic is Sage Cloud Hosting and the operational benefits that you can gain by using the right Sage Cloud Hosting provider. So to give you just a little bit about myself, I CompuData for about 7 years now total, and I'm Vice President of Technology. CompuData has been in business for about 50 years. Doing Sage Cloud Hosting for about 10 plus years. And we really have the right idea of how to pick the right Sage Cloud Hosting provider. Okay. So a little bit about ourselves. We've been providing business technology solutions for 50 years, as I said, 30 of which we've been an award-winning Sage partner. We do cloud hosting, ERP software, IT security, managed IT services, and we strategically work with our clients to ensure we have the right technologies in place. We're a certified Microsoft Gold partner, and we have an entire team of certified cloud engineers that help our clients utilize the right IT stack to meet their business needs. In addition to the IT experience, we have 30 years experience as a Sage business partner. We have a team of certified Sage consultants and developers that help organizations streamline their business utilizing the Sage ecosystem. Our cloud hosting solutions have been certified for security and resiliency by the Sage Global Security Operations Team, as shown by our membership in the Strategic Hosting Provider Program. Combining our elite technology group with our experienced Sage consultants creates the perfect team to solve complex business problems with secure cloud environments. We work closely with many other Sage business partners like Veracruz Plum to ensure their Sage customers have the best hosting options available at their disposal. So today we're going to talk about the operational benefits for Sage Cloud Hosting, specifically how the right Sage Cloud Hosting provider can improve your operations with security, reliability, and performance. For attendees that are already in the cloud, we'll talk about how the Sage hosting experience can vary drastically between providers and how the wrong provider could be detrimental to your users' experiences. We'll also talk briefly about the role of cloud architecture for your business's security and resiliency. So what are the most important operational benefits you get with cloud hosting? The first one is control and flexibility. So one of the biggest issues with on-premise infrastructure is that it is fixed. You buy it once and you're stuck with it until you replace it. The cloud is meant to be flexible, constantly changing and adjusting based on your needs. You can add more storage or performance on the fly. You can turn off resources and save money when you don't need them. And the flexibility allows you to make changes quickly and not have to wait for IT to play catch up. The second operational benefit is remote access. Nearly every company requires remote access to their systems today. The cloud provides a unified, easy to use remote connection option for all of your employees, no matter where they work from. We also will reduce the IT burden on the business. Many companies are overwhelmed managing technology in-house. It either takes up precious time of key resources or you require a large IT staff and it becomes cost prohibitive. Utilizing cloud hosting allows your employees to focus on more important initiatives rather than the day-to-day IT needs. Right in line with reducing the burden is creating a predictable IT budget. Most cloud solutions come as a fixed monthly fee that's predictable and consistent compared to the peaks and valleys of traditional IT spends. And lastly, cloud hosting should be considerably more secure than your on-premise technology stack. There are more options to choose from, and stronger, more cost-effective security solutions than what you would ever build yourself in-house. Also, cloud enables businesses to start fresh with a clean environment that's built to spec, rather than trying to rebuild your on-premise infrastructure to meet new requirements. A good analogy is often it allows you to build a totally brand new house just how you want it, that's move-in ready, rather than trying to renovate your existing house while you're also trying to live in it at the same time. So all those benefits are great, but it's important to note that you don't automatically get those things just by buying a cloud solution. You have to pick the right solution and provider that will architect it to meet these specific needs. The partner has to have the tools at their disposal and the team that's there that can build it successfully. You can have two different providers that call it Sage Cloud Hosting, but they can deliver very different products. And that was part of the reason why Sage made the Strategic Hosting Provider Program, to help their customers clearly identify the providers that meet the highest requirements for service delivery and security. You also want a provider that's flexible. Many providers offer one flavor of cloud, and you have to take it or leave it. Well, not every business is the same, and each cloud environment should be built with your specific business needs in mind. The right provider will design a specific solution for your business that meets the requirements for performance, resiliency, and security. All of this equates to the best user experience for your staff. So let's talk a little bit more about those three key areas in cloud hosting. And the first one's going to be cloud performance. So how does that vary between different clouds? And it all comes down to architecture. And this is a recurring theme that we'll talk about in other areas as well. Some providers share resources across multiple customers to drive the price lower of the solution. This allows them to offer a bottom dollar price, but not necessarily explain why it's so much cheaper than others. This can cause issues regarding performance because pushing all customers through a single environment can lead to performance bottlenecks. Can also have impact in your environment when other customers have spikes in their utilization. Another issue is not necessarily having enough cloud experience or the right solutions at your disposal to right-size the environment from day one. I'm sure we've all gone through where we bought something and it didn't perform as expected, and you nearly instantly had to increase the specifications to get performance back in line. This happens when you work with an inexperienced provider that doesn't necessarily have a long track record of designing or implementing these types of solutions. And the last piece is cloud should improve performance by utilizing modern day computing solutions. New compute solutions are out basically every single year at this point, and a cloud environment should allow you to upgrade your performance on the fly as part of the solution. You should never be in the cloud and operating on 5-year-old technology. It should always be updating every single year. So that's why it's really important difference between on-premise and cloud. You would never buy new on-premise equipment every single year to keep pace, but tapping into a cloud solution enables you to do that at the same price every single month. The other key benefit is reliability. It's probably the #1 concern that we hear for companies moving to the cloud. How can you feel confident that you're handing over your data to a company and a solution that's going to be resilient to failures? The first thing you can do is check that you're utilizing the best remote connectivity software. So the connection software is the most critical piece to a reliable user connection every single day. It assists in keeping the connection alive to your cloud system, even when there's internet issues or weak connections. So the proper solution with the wrong connectivity software could really hurt your reliability. So it's important to have both in the solution. Cloud environments should also be built with your specific resiliency needs in mind. Again, you don't want the one flavor fits all. You want to be able to customize it for different solutions within your cloud environment, or possibly different business units get different reliability requirements in place. If you need active systems in multiple data center locations, can the provider accommodate that type of request? We offer a variety of different options for resiliency. You can go into a single data center facility. You can go into multiple data center facilities. You can do an active standby configuration for reliability. You can do active-active. All of those customizations around redundancy are important because, again, every business has a different requirement for their entire business, but also possibly different business units within their company may have different requirements. And the last piece that we'll touch as far as operational benefits is security. And this has been a much more popular topic over the past 4 or 5 years, is how can I feel confident that my data is secure? I'm sure everyone sees things popping up on the news all the time about data breaches, and it's definitely a big concern when moving to the cloud, ensuring that the solution is secured completely. So a really easy solution that should be provided as part of cloud environments is single sign-on. And what that means is that your login should be the same to the cloud system as that you use for the rest of your business. Typically, your email, username, and password should be utilized across all of your business units and all of your solutions. And unified passwords provide better security because you can enforce policy from one location. And users are less likely to use weak passwords because if they have a single strong password to remember, it's much easier than having 15 different passwords to keep track of, which often causes them to use very weak passwords across multiple systems. And you can also keep audit logs to all of your different solutions from one location. So if you're utilizing one authentication method, the email address, username, and password, for example, you can then audit log all of the systems across your business that are being authenticated against that username and password. So it makes it much easier to track and audit logins to your environment and who's using what solutions on a daily basis. Another big thing is being able to customize the security solution based on your requirements. So different businesses have different compliance regulations, different security audits they go through every year. And again, that one size fits all doesn't work for most people in cloud hosting. You need to be able to adjust your security package based on your needs, but also as time moves on. So your security requirement in 2022 may look very different in 2023 and 2024. And the cloud allows you to adjust your environment on the fly to meet these different requirements, as well as these compliance regulations. If you're in the DoD supply chain or you have different compliance regulations, they're constantly being updated and changed as well. So your environment needs to be able to adapt. And again, the big benefit on the cloud side is it can adapt with the right provider. On premise, it's usually very difficult to do. It's that same analogy of having to renovate the house while I'm living in it. You also hear having to change the tires while you're driving the car, all of those things, right? So the cloud makes it much easier to adapt to those type of changes within your business. And the other piece that I want to note is really cloud solution providers really should have security expertise in-house. So a lot of providers will outsource security operations because they don't have the skill set in-house. So you want to make sure that the cloud provider has a security team under their own company because they're the ones actually designing the environment and managing the environment. So if they don't have the security team in-house, how can you be confident that the environment was built properly from a security standpoint and being managed properly? So SOC 2 providers are very common in cloud hosting. Thing to note, big difference between a data center provider being SOC 2 certified and your actual hosting partner being SOC 2 certified. You usually want both. So that's one thing to check as well is it just the data center provider that has a SOC 2 certification, or does the vendor that is actually implementing and managing the solution for me also SOC 2 verified as well? And that's just an independent third party has come in and verified that the organization is following proper policy and procedure internally when handling sensitive data or customer data. It's just a way to protect your business that the vendor I'm working with is not being reckless with how they're storing information or accessing our environments. So those are some of the key operational benefits that you get with cloud hosting, focusing again on performance, resiliency, and security. And a lot of people move to the cloud just to get those operational benefits as quick as possible. But sometimes timing is a big factor as well, right? So we often see people looking to move to the cloud when they're going through a server upgrade or a software upgrade. So the hardware is getting long in the tooth, getting close for replacement, or we're doing a Sage upgrade in the very near future. And, do we want to put this back on premise, or do we want to put it in the cloud, or do we want to possibly evaluate migrating cloud providers? A lot of people are already in the cloud today, but maybe not experiencing these type of benefits. So these are some of the most common times to start looking either at a new cloud hosting provider or migrating to a different cloud hosting provider if you're already in cloud. But the most common being server being end of life or a Sage upgrade coming up. But really, it's a variety of reasons. And again, some people just move to the cloud specifically to gain these benefits around performance, security, or resiliency, regardless of timing. So if you're looking at cloud solution providers, it's important to ask the right questions and evaluate between the different options that are out there. There's a lot of options for cloud hosting. And again, not everyone has each of these operational benefits built into their solutions. So the best piece to really start for asking questions is around the security credentials of the partner that you're evaluating. The reputation in the industry, have they been around for a long time? Do they work with clients that are around the same size as my business? Those type of questions. And do they have flexibility in their offering, right? Because you really don't want to be locked into a single solution that has no flexibility. You want to be able to bring in, again, your own security configurations, your own resiliency configurations. And you also want the ability to grow the environment possibly outside of Sage. So a lot of providers will host your Sage software, but nothing else. And very rarely does Sage operate independently. There's all these other solutions that integrate or connect to Sage, and you want to have the flexibility, maybe not day one to grow beyond Sage, but maybe year 2 or year 3, you want to expand that cloud footprint, bring other solutions in. Can your provider grow with you as you grow as a business? The strategic hosting provider program is a great place to start because Sage did a lot of this work already, but there are still differences between even members within that program. So as I said earlier, CompuData is a member of the strategic hosting provider program. And we went through basically a testing process with the Sage global security team to verify that our environments are architected securely, that our business operations are operating to protect our users, our customers' data, and that our people are trained adequately in-house to design these environments for, again, reliability, resiliency, reliability, performance, and security. Okay, so if you had questions during the chat, we are going to do a quick Q&A as well. I see a few that we're going to get to as I went through. We will be sharing these slide decks as well as this presentation after the fact, in case you wanted to go back and check on something or share it with other members. There will be some other resources on the same topic, right? So how do you pick the right cloud solution? What are things to look for between providers or evaluating against on-premise Sage hosting? So we will have some resources for you to tap into if you wanted to read some more. But I would like to get to the Q&A as well. So let me bring up some of these. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat as well. So one question that I have here is, what's the difference between this and Sage Partner Cloud? So there have been some announcements by Sage regarding the Sage Partner Cloud, and I will go back to the badge that you can see. There are 2 flavors of Sage hosting that's been verified by Sage directly. One is Sage Partner Cloud, and one is called Strategic Hosting Provider. Okay, so Sage Partner Cloud is an option that you can buy through your Sage partners that will basically put your Sage into Microsoft Azure under the Sage provisioning umbrella. So it's an environment that's tied to Sage Direct, but supported through partners. But again, it is only specifically for Sage software hosting. So we talked a little bit about flexibility, being able to grow beyond Sage. Sage Partner Cloud is much more narrow. It's just for Sage hosting, and that's it. And it doesn't offer the flexibility and the customization that a lot of businesses required. So that's when Sage introduced the Strategic Hosting Provider Program, which allows you to pick from a small pool of hosting providers that Sage has, again, verified are architecting environments to the strict requirements that they have. And the hosting provider program can bring you the flexibility around resiliency, redundancy, performance, security. So as a strategic hosting provider at CompuData, we can then customize a cloud solution for your business that can be Sage, but also additional software packages and solutions, and customize it around your specific security needs, et cetera. So 2 different programs. The Sage Partner Cloud is tailored for Sage only hosting and more simplified environments. As you have more complex requirements and customized requirements, you kind of move into that strategic hosting provider option that Sage encourages you to evaluate. And again, you're working direct with a partner at that point, but it is a partner that Sage has verified. To just talk a little bit about CompuData in that regard, as a strategic hosting provider, we are the only one that offers flexibility around hosting providers. So you can host your data with CompuData on equipment that we own and maintain, or we can put you into Microsoft Azure as your hosting provider, which basically opens up over 160 different data center locations, which is infinitely more than a single location that most providers offer. So Azure really gives CompuData the ability to be much more flexible and agile in how we deploy your solutions in the cloud. And I kind of stepped on top of this other question with the first answer, but I'll just address it anyway since it was asked. The question is, does Sage host this or do you host this? And as I said earlier, with the Sage Partner Cloud, you are in Microsoft Azure, but it's under the Sage umbrella. So Sage maintains a portion of the infrastructure and the partner maintains a portion. So it's kind of a shared responsibility model there. In the strategic hosting provider program, again, it can be put with CompuData specifically, it can be put into CompuData's data center, or it can be put into any Microsoft Azure data center that you choose. We also support hybrid deployments as well. So you could have a portion of your business running out of a specific data center and then have another portion of your business running out of a different data center. A common example of that could be if you have multiple business locations, you could have a portion of your environment running locally. Say you have one in Texas and one in Virginia. Well, we can put their cloud resources in a data center that is geographically closer to them. Rather than if your main business operations is based out of Florida, you don't want your primary data center to be in the state of Washington, right? You want it to be geographically close to you to provide faster performance and quicker access, but then you can provide geographic redundancy by backing up your data to a separate region, if you will. So a lot of options there. That is the only 2 questions I see posted. So hopefully I answered them adequately for everybody. I'm going to put my camera back on here. Okay. And that wraps our meeting for today. So just to do a quick recap, there's a lot of options in the cloud hosting space. Cloud hosting should bring you operational benefits in 3 key areas: performance, resiliency, and security. So when you're evaluating a move to cloud, those 3 areas should be a key focus for you. You want a provider that can be flexible in all 3 of those areas to give you the best solution that meets the business need. And that's all I have. Kelly, I don't know if you want to do a quick wrap and thank you as well.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, Ed, for presenting today. Really appreciate you and the folks at CompuData that make this happen. And of course, like to thank the attendees. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending some of your day with us. If you'd like to learn more or you need CPE credit for attending this webinar, there will be a survey, a short survey after this meeting ends here. And you can reach out to a VBCC team member as well to get more information. And with that, until next month, see everybody next time.